What's up, guys? So I know it's been a while. Basically been pretty busy just writing, researching, just living in this crazy world we all inhabit. As of this recording, just found out, about the whole Iran, U.S., Israel, and all that mess situation. Um, and as you would expect, everybody's now talking about that, and seems like the whole Epstein thing is just vanished, at least for now. So I'm going to do my best to get back on that topic as well, and try to push it to as many people as I can that, get all their information from the brainwashing tube, the TV. Um, but I just wanted to hop on here and, recently I've picked up a decent amount of new subscribers. So in case you were wondering, I am not a trans speciesist. I am actually a human being. I'm not a wolf, although it's kind of a cool avatar. Um, my name's Evan, by the way. I'll disclose that much. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location on the eastern seaboard. Um, After we dodged in my area, we dodged a bullet. They kind of got crushed northeast with all that snow and everything, but my area really didn't get much. Temperatures are actually starting to warm up a little bit, although supposedly we're going to get more snow. Maybe I don't know. It's just like doesn't make any sense. But I just want to hop on here and basically just sort of give my perspective from the lay of the land. Um, and I guess the best way I could start is by saying something that I've been reiterating over the past week and a half, and that would be that the world is essentially run by pedovores. People talk about pedophiles or pederasts, which are pedophiles that actually act on their, sexual inclinations. But pedovores is sort of a word not a lot of people are familiar with, and we need to get familiar with that word because it's very real. I still see people saying, "Oh, they were trafficking children, they were raping children, maybe they were even killing children," but they wouldn't actually eat them. They wouldn't actually eat, parts of their bodies or, derivatives to put it in a somewhat benign term of humans. Well, they do. They do. They eat them. And it's been going on for thousands of years. Grab a fucking textbook, grab an esoteric book, I should say. Do a little research and just accept it because it's happening. And frankly, I'm tired of this bullshit where people are just trying to distract from the worst of the worst, trying to minimize, trying to just deny because they can't stomach it. It's just like people do with the, C19 injections where they try to tell you that, oh, they're not actually harming that many people, you know, okay. And, the goalposts are always moving for these fools. Oh, well, oh, okay. So maybe they didn't work as effectively. All right. So myocarditis isn't exactly as transient and rare and, mild as we were told. All right. So there's more injuries. Maybe there's some upticks in diseases, but, and they just keep moving it, but they never want to admit, they never want to get to the unvarnished truth, which is dark and deep and disturbing. I get that. But the truth is, the C19 pandemic psyop is part of a greater satanic transhumanist cabal agenda, not just democide, because it's killing a lot of people, but it's allowing them to implement the next phase. The explosion in AI, all this AI, just like fever push, this race to AI, you notice how that really just like exponentially really just came up, like kind of coming out of the pandemic? That's not coincidence, folks. You know, these shots, all these injectables, all these pharmaceutical injectables now, everything's going to injectable from oral to injectable. It's all for a reason, okay? They're sickening the populace. Many lifespans have been shortened. Many people have already died, millions upon millions. Who knows the exact figures, right? And they're going to weaken those who do survive, those of us who, either I didn't, of course, I didn't take any of the shots, but those who did and dodged a bullet, maybe they got placebo, whatever. Maybe they just, for whatever reason that we don't really understand, they just haven't had any problems. Or those of us who didn't get them, we're still being exposed, through the geoengineering, and I call it sort of the smart grid engineering. the nanoparticles, the strontium, the aluminum, you know, there's so much more, I can't even who knows what else, but we're exposed to that, we're exposed through the transmission/shedding phenomenon, which is basically all but confirmed at this point. Some people are obviously more vulnerable than others. I heard from people that they would be within, like, 6-foot proximity of somebody who had gotten, their COVID jabs, like, a year ago, and they would still get sick. And you would hear about these women whose their menstrual cycles would still be out of whack even though they never got the shots themselves, but they had family members who did or friends who did, what have you. Then other people could be around these, the injected and not really have any noticeable problems. But, that they've been seeing these weird anomalous self-assembling structures in people's blood who didn't get any of the shots. So my point in all that, not to ramble or sort of speak too quickly here, is that we're all exposed. So, the stupid platitude during COVID, "We're all in this together." Well, it's true, but not in the sense that they said it. So with that in mind, it's important we understand the greater plan. People are realizing that, the people they trusted to get these injections just so happen to be, satanic transhumanists who literally eat babies. They eat babies, in case you had any doubts about it. You say, "Well, you don't have definitive proof of that." The proof's in the pudding. The proof's in the beef jerky. The proof's in the pizza. The proof's in the ice cream. The proof's in the muffins. The proof is there. The proof is there. And if we just let this Epstein thing slide, if we don't press, if we don't keep digging, if we allow these distractions that, sway the normies and mind control the normies. I mean, we just learned, Project Artichoke, the predecessor to MK Ultra. We just learned about. I mean, they've been doing this for how many decades? Right under our noses, right underneath our skin, right in our everyday common items and products. You don't think they have? Really? It's time for people to wake the fuck up. And maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I'm just not in a good mood. So I apologize for the curse words, but some days I'm just like, I get exasperated with people. I'm just like, weakness and denial and all these psychological defense mechanisms, they're not going to change reality. And we're reaching a point. We're reaching a point where the dam's going to break, and people who have just been suppressing the knowledge, they're going to freak out. And we're already seeing people freak out. It's partly psychological, it's partly chemical, and because of the bioweapon, nanoweapon injections, it's all these things. And I want to see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I want to bring hope. I want to instill hope and courage and strength and conviction, but above all else, I need to give the truth. And if that's inconvenient and terrible to some people, so be it. Because ultimately, we're better off knowing it, as dark and as disgusting and as almost impossible to fathom as it is. And that's where I stand. And that's who I am. And I think a lot of you are of a similar ilk. And I appreciate you. And if you can support me, please become a free subscriber. Better yet, become a paid subscriber. I really appreciate it. I put my neck on the line. I do devote a lot of time and effort to some of this stuff. So I appreciate all my paid subscribers. I'll probably be making most of my podcasts from here on out behind a paywall just because I, g- I just have to do it. I'm sorry. I got to do it. And it's not fair to my paid subscribers. They deserve a little something extra. And I want to establish that intimate connection too. I think this is the way to do it. But that aside, like I said, the big issue is we're up against a satanic transhumanist cabal, multifaceted attack, all the things that are coming together right now, all common threads. It's all interwoven. It's a big picture. Take the 40,000-foot view as they spray their stratospheric aerosol injections from 40,000 feet. Look down. We got to see the forest for the trees. We got to use our brains. We got to use our hearts. We got to stay intact with our souls because that's what they want most. And I see it happen to people. It's like they're possessed. They're they're possessed or they're voids, but they're becoming less and less human. You see it too. I know you do. And we're gonna fight it. We're gonna fight it.